We have a Husqvarna 141, and what happened here is the fuel hose that sits inside the tank connected to the fuel filter has rotted away and broke off. As you can see, this is the old hose, this is the new hose. So we're going to replace the hose today. So we'll start by taking the cover off. It's the cover for the carburetor, air filter, everything. Slides off. And this is the air filter, and it's 2 screws to take that off, which we need to do. That's a dirty air filter. Replace it if it looks like that. And this is a backing plate for your air filter. It just sits between the filter and between the filter and the carb. And it's a 10mm nut, and we just take these off. And this pops off. And then here's your carburetor. Here's the old fuel line that we got to replace. This fuel line runs all the way over top of the carburetor and back underneath it to go on top of the tank. So it kind of looks as though we're going to have to take the carburetor off. So those are your bolts. And there's a plate here that sits between your air filter bracket and the carburetor, and it is screwed into the bottom of the chainsaw, so we'll have to undo those 2 screws to take the plate off to get the carburetor out. Now attached to this plate is a wire, which is a ground wire, and when you put that back together you want to make sure the ground wire is connected.
Point that out again with your screwdriver or something.
There, right there.
Okay.
Just make sure that it goes back together, otherwise it could be very bad for your saw. So you'll have the choke lever right here, which actually slides right out really nicely. And then you'll have this bar right here for the throttle that pops out as well. You just lift both of them straight up and they'll pop right out from their spot. Now I normally take these off because they're a hassle otherwise, they get in your way. There's your carburetor and the fuel line. You just pull it off, set the carburetor aside, and pull your fuel line out. You want to try and clean some of this stuff out of there. Our newer but old fuel line is almost 3 times as thick as our new fuel line. So we weren't getting this one through the little hole, so we switched to this one. What I normally do is just take some spit, I lick it and just put it down in the tank. So, after you feed it through that tiny little hole, grab onto the end of it with a pliers and pull it through. You want to pull straight down in the tank, not out. Ta-da! So you'll want about, I'd say that much would be alright. Cut off any damaged line. Put the new fuel filter back in. Which usually just takes a little bit of a spit. And it's going to be a little hard to get it on there, but once you get it going, it goes on pretty good. All the way, like that.
See it in the bottom there?
Yep.
Okay, yep.
So that's where that's at. That part's done. Now we can put the carburetor back on. Make sure that you put it on the right way. Before you set it in there though, you want to put back your throttle arm. Set it back in its spot. Put back the choke arm as well. Make sure that your fuel line is out of the way to the point where it will not get pinched. Like so. Fuel line is still nice and loose. We want to measure it out. Up there. Cut it off. And put it on. Again, it might be a little difficult to get it on there, but you can do it. Before you put everything else on, make sure that this metal plate goes back on there and that the ground wire is screwed on. Now the carburetor bolts. Don't want to over tighten them because it is aluminum, it'll strip out. You want to make sure that they're tight.
That's it.
2 holes. Make sure you got the right one. Just want to get it snug on one side, go back and get the other side snug. Yep, that's way better.
Mm-hmm.
What? You want to get out?